Friends, hello. I welcome you all to our today's session. We are going to learn a new concept today. The concept is about residential status. As all of you are aware of, the total income of the assessee or the computation of total income of our assessee depends on its residential status. Depending upon the residential status, a particular income may be included in the assessee's total taxable income or may not be included in the assessee's total income also. So when you talk about the total income, this consists of aggregate of all 5 heads income. That is income generated from all the 5 heads: salaries, income from house property, profit and gains of business and profession, capital gains, and income from other sources. Then this figure, the aggregate figure, gets adjusted for setup and carry forward process and clubbing provisions. Then deductions which are allowed under the provisions of income tax law, that is allowed, that is deducted. After that, you get the total income. Okay. And this total income or total taxable income needs to be computed, keeping in mind the residential status of an assessee. Friends, broadly, if you talk, we can classify all these assessees or all these persons. So as you are aware of, there are 7 category of persons. Okay. Like, help me. One is individual. Second is HUF. Who else can tell me? Third one is farm, including LLP. Then come on. Next is company. Fourth. Then fifth one is, who can tell me?
The association of
persons, a body of individuals. Okay. Then sixth one,
local authorities.
Local authorities. Very good. Then seventh,
artificial
judicial person. These 7 category of persons, when they become assessee, we can classify these assessees or we can classify these persons into 2 categories depending upon their residential status. So broadly into 2 categories. What are these broad 2 categories? I will say one is resident, and what can be the other one?
Non-resident.
Non-resident. Very good. There are different kinds of sub-classifications also, but now I'm talking about this broad classification. So assessee can be a resident assessee or can be a non-resident assessee. So friends, one basic principle primarily we'll remember. First of all, what happens? If someone is a resident, then his entire income means his Indian income as well as his foreign income, non-Indian income. Entire income will be taxable in India if a person is a resident. And if someone is a non-resident, then only his Indian income will be taxable. His foreign income will not be taxable. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
There are exceptions, but this is the basic concept better. This basic concept has to understand that we can say Indian income and non-Indian income, or you can say foreign income. But once a person is a resident, then his entire income, his global income, whether it is generated from India, whether it is generated from Australia, whether it is generated from Italy, doesn't matter because the person is resident. You have to see that his entire income becomes taxable in India. But if someone is non-resident, then what we will see? Whether this income is generated from India. If it is generated from India, then okay, that is taxable in India. But his foreign income will not be taxable in India. That's the concept. That is why there is a need to know the residential status first. Because which type of income will be inputted? One person might be having income from various countries. Which income is to be inputted? It depends upon his residential status. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Good thing is that the residential status may keep on changing every year. That means there is a possibility that this year you may be resident, next year you may be non-resident, next year again you may become resident. But during the year, suppose in a particular previous year, in a particular assessment year, once you are resident, means you are resident. During the year, you cannot change the status, and it's not possible. And it is also not your choice to change the residential status. So there are certain provisions These provisions has to be taken care of, and that has to be applied to decide whether a person is resident or non-resident primarily. Okay.
Yes, sir.
With this background, let me enter into the topic. Going to share the screen with you, friends. This is our first part of understanding the residential status and the concept of taxability. How this taxability is related to the residential status. This is the principle of law. That is what we are going to learn. Okay, so as I was discussing right now, if you read this particular slide, it says the computation of total income depends on residential status. And friends, you are aware of it is the total income which is chargeable to tax. And its computation depends on residential status. Income may be different in case of person resident in India and a person not resident in India. Right? Why? Because in one case, global income will be considered. In another case, only Indian income will be considered. Is it not? And this residential status is to be determined for every previous year. Friends, you are aware of the concept of assessment year and the previous year. And with respect to every previous year, the residential status has to be separately determined. It's not that once you are a resident, you are always resident. No. You have to determine residential status every previous year. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, I'm showing you a picture. Now, have a look at this and try to appreciate what the picture is trying to explain. Friends, first it is saying that as you are aware of, every person is liable to pay tax in certain situations. And there are 7 categories of persons. Yes or no? Keep on responding.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, these 7 category of persons in certain situations may become assessee. You are aware of the definition of assessee. In earlier classes, we have already discussed that when a tax or any other sum of money is payable, or he may be deemed assessee, in certain situations, these persons can become assessees. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, if they're assessees, we need to know their residential status. And for understanding the concept of residential status, we have classifying this individual and HUF as one category of assessees, or one category of persons, and all other assessees. Can you tell me what is the meaning of all other assessees? Individual HUF is here, and there are 7 category of persons. So who are they and all other assessees?
Sir, company, local authority, artificial.
Company, local authority, artificial judicial person. 3 you told me. I want 5.
Then AOP and BOI.
AOP, BOI. Then farm. I think farm you missed.
Firm and LLP.
Okay, farm and LLP. So for all other assessees. First, if you see on all other assessees, as you can see, there are only 2 possibilities. Can you see it here?
Yes, sir.
What are they?
Resident in India and non-resident in India.
Non-resident. Okay, resident in India and non-resident. Very simple. Coming to individual and HUF, there are also 2 possibilities. For the time being, ignore this part. Now, this is a deemed resident only for individual. This concept I will explain you in appropriate time. But for individual HUF, as you can also see, they may be resident in India and non-resident in India. Are you getting it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Again, resident and non-resident. But only for individuals, there is one more concept, that is deemed resident. What is that deemed resident? Additional concept from assessment year 21-22 onwards, it has been introduced. It's a new concept. We'll be explaining this thing. Okay. And when individual will become resident in India, this has been, I will be learning that principle. But here it has been in short, it has been explained that 182 days in the previous year, or 60 days in the previous year, and 365 days in the fourth preceding year, he should have stayed in India. We'll be seeing that condition. I'll be explaining with this detail in appropriate time. Primarily, you understand a resident and non-resident. But if you look at here, once an individual and HUF is a resident, again, there can be subclassification. Then again, there are two more possibilities. What are they? Will you please read it?
Resident and ordinary resident in India. Resident but not ordinary resident in
Resident
India.
in India. Okay. So one is resident and ordinary resident. Second is resident but not ordinary resident. Okay. So first you understand here also two possibilities. Other assets is resident, non-resident. Individual HUF also two possibilities, resident and non-resident. But once an individual or HUF is resident, then again we have to subclassify them as resident and ordinary resident, and resident but not ordinary resident. When an individual HUF will become ordinary resident, these conditions are here. We'll be seeing it at appropriate time. Okay, maybe in 2 out of 10 previous years, the person must have stayed on the relevant person must have stayed for 730 days, or must be resident in 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. These conditions I'll be explaining you in time, in right time, right now. Let us ignore that thing. But this is a broad classification. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
And this is one additional thing. The concept of deemed resident. And deemed resident is not applicable for HUF. It is applicable to whom?
Individual.
Individual. And this deemed resident will be treated as resident but not ordinary resident.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. If this is clear, let me move ahead to discuss few more concepts for you. Again, in a different way, I'm explaining this thing. Residential status is explained in Section 6 of Income Tax Act 1961. Residential status of farm, AOP, local authority, company, etc. can be of resident and non-resident. But for individual, they can be also resident and non-resident. If they're non-resident, then fine, no further subclassification. But once they are resident, then they can be resident and ordinarily resident and resident, but not ordinarily resident. And in addition to that, for individuals, there is a deemed resident concept. Okay, this is the structure, it's the very basic structure of residential status with which all of us need to familiarize ourselves. Now, having understood this, let us read the provisions. Provisions directly I'm showing you from the slide, but if you want, you can visit to the Income Tax Department website and read Section 6, subsection 1. Section 6.1 talks about residential status of an individual. Okay.
Yes.
Are you seeing? Okay. Now, if you read it here, it says that individual is said to be a resident of India if he satisfies any one of the following two conditions. So, how many conditions are there?
Two conditions.
Two conditions, and any one. You can see condition number 1, condition number 2. In section, it has been written in a different way. For better presentation, I have given 1, 2. And in between, if you see, there is one top, or we have to understand it like this, or. That means either condition 1 will be satisfied or condition 2 will be satisfied. Okay. If 1 is satisfied, we need not test the second condition also. Because it says any one condition has to be satisfied. What is condition number 1? I request some of you, please read it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He is in India for a period or periods amounting in all to 182 days or more in the relevant previous year.
Yes. So we have to find out what is relevant previous year. For example, friends, let us talk about the assessment year 22-23. Okay. If I'm talking about assessment year 22-23, please tell me what is the relevant previous year?
21-22.
21-22. And what the law says? He is in India for a period or periods. That means maybe single period, maybe for multiple periods. Let us say he has stayed for 20 days, then gone abroad, then again come, again stayed for another 30 days, going out, then again staying for 25 days. So period or periods, stay need not be continuous. All period or period taken together, how many days he should have stayed?
182 days.
182 days. If the person has stayed, then one condition is satisfied. The condition is satisfied, we can call them as resident and non-resident.
Resident.
Resident in India. Now you analyze yourself and tell me whether you are resident or non-resident. Whether in 21-22 you have stayed 182 days or more in India.
Resident, sir.
Also,
Resident.
that's good. Then you are resident. Okay. Only when you are finding that you might not have stayed, then you calculate and find out and try to determine the residency status. That is condition one. But there is one more condition also. That is or. Either condition one, condition two. Second case. Please read second case.
He is in India for 60 days or more during the relevant previous year, and he has been in India for 365 days or more during 4 previous years immediately preceding the
relevant previous year. Now, friends. So here in between, and is there. That means this is a joint condition. Condition one is satisfied, then fine. In condition two, he is in India for 60 days or more during relevant issue. So when I'm talking about assessment year 21-22, and you told me that previous year is, sorry, I'm talking about assessment year 22-23. The previous year is 21-22. The person has stayed 60 days. But again, we have to go back. Go back means 4 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. And during this period, how many days he should have stayed?
365 days.
365 days. Now condition is 60 plus 365. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Let me give this example again. 2 conditions I told you. Condition number 1 and condition number 2. What is the assessment year I told you?
22-23.
And what is the relevant previous year for this assessment?
21-22.
For the first condition says 182 days.
Yes, sir.
182 days, you did not check anything, he says. Or second condition says he might have stayed not 182 days, he has stayed only for
60 days.
60 days. If it is 60 days, then normally he's not a resident, but we have to test additional conditions also. What are these additional conditions? That 4 preceding previous immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Is the relevant previous year? But the 4 preceding previous years. That means what are they?
Sir, 2020-21,
2021,
1920,
1820,
1890,
1819.
and 1780.
In these 4 preceding years taken together, he must have stayed 365 days. And this is an additional condition. This condition, this condition. Both.
Yes.
In
Sir,
fact, yeah.
365 days in like all those 4 years or
No,
cumulatively?
all taken together. This is the entire period.
Okay, sir.
Okay, not that every period he should have stayed 365 days. No. Entire period. All period taken together, he should have stayed 365 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but this, let us say 365 days here, 59 days here, 59 days here, then no. Both the conditions should be satisfied. 60 plus 365.
Yes, sir.
Okay, or 60 days here, 364 days here. No, he's still not a resident. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Understood? This is the
Yes, sir.
principle on the basis of which we need to decide the residential status. Now, once again, I will insist that you read the provisions that he is in India for 60 days or more during relevant previous year. You have understood this? And he has been in India for 365 days or more during four previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. So during the entire this 4 previous year period, you should have stayed 365 days or more. And if at least any one of the both condition is not satisfied, then the individual is a non-resident. This is not satisfied, this is not satisfied, or both are not satisfied. Then he is a non-resident. One. Okay. If either one is satisfied, then he is a resident. Okay. If he is not a resident, then he is a non-resident.
Yes, sir.
Did you understand the primary condition? On this basis, you can decide whether an individual is a resident or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, few other things, connected things, let us discuss first of all. I told you that you should have stayed in India for, in one situation, I told you 182 days, another situation 60 days, plus 365 days. Friends, remember, the stay in India includes stay in the territorial waters of India. That is 12 nautical miles into sea from Indian coastline. Even the stay in a ship or boat moored in the territorial waters of India would be sufficient to take that to make an individual a resident in India. Understood this concept? So if the person is staying in a ship in the territorial waters of India, he'll be still regarded as resident. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then the residence of an individual for income tax purpose has nothing to do with citizenship, place of birth, or domicile. One person may be citizen of France, but he may be resident in India. Okay. One person, let us say, the other way around is also possible. Okay, he's not a resident of India, but he is a citizen of India. That possibility is also there. Because how we'll know the resident? His number of days of stay. Citizenship doesn't come into picture. So an individual can therefore be resident in more than one country. You may be resident in India, you may be resident in Australia, you may be resident in France. Because how you will be knowing you will be considered as a resident, it depends upon their own tax law. Citizenship is a different concept, but one person can be a resident in multiple countries. It depends upon their tax law. Is this concept clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, friends, if you have understood this thing, let us apply this test. All of you, please reply. This is, I'm talking about, or we are doing this exercise for the assessment year 22-23. When I say assessment year 22-23, you see the relevant previous year is 21-22, and four preceding previous years are 2021, 19-20, 18-19, and 17-18. Right? Correct? Am I right? Right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see these are the 7 cases I am showing you. I'll show you further more cases also. You have to answer me. In the case 1, you have to tell me whether this person, number of days of stay is given in this table. This is case 1, first case, column wise you have to see. Okay, see it column wise. First case, case 1, number of days of stay is here, and you have to answer me that what is his residential status. We are talking about an individual.
Sir, he is he is the resident of
The
India.
resident.
He is resident. Are you sure? You have understood the condition. 182 days is satisfied. 60 plus 365 days, that condition is also satisfied. So in fact, both the conditions are satisfied. So if that is so, we'll call him as the resident. Now friends, please tell me situation 2, case 2, second case.
Resident, sir. Resident.
Also resident. Why? Explain me this.
So the first condition is satisfied.
First condition is satisfied. We need not go into deep. We go to the second condition. Case 3.
Sir, resident.
Resident.
Yes, sir.
Which condition?
The second condition, 60
Second
days.
condition.
and
180 days is not there. So we have to see the second condition also. 60 plus 365 is there.
Yes, sir.
Good. He is also resident. Case 4.
Sir, resident.
Resident. Which
Yes.
condition?
So second condition.
Second condition. 60 plus 365. Can easily calculate 365 is there. 300 plus 70 is one there. One is there.
Yes, sir.
So very easily you can quickly say it's also a resident. All these cases we have seen, it's a resident. Case 5.
Sir, non-resident.
Case 5 we are talking about non-resident. Why?
So second condition, like the 60 days has to be satisfied. Only 365 days in the previous preceding year
Okay.
suffice.
So he is a 100% non-resident. Okay. Case 6.
Non-resident.
Non-resident.
Second
Are you
condition.
sure? Are you sure?
Uh,
What is the law for residential status?
okay, sir. Then if first condition, then he is resident.
And if first condition means what? You have to give me whether he is a resident or non-resident. Any one condition is satisfied means he is resident.
Resident.
So in case number 6, please decide quickly and tell me.
Yes, sir. So he is resident.
Is
Resident, sir.
resident. He is resident. Okay, first condition is satisfied. You need not see the second condition. Case 7.
Non-resident.
Non-resident.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, he is not satisfying the first condition, also the second condition.
Second condition. So 60 plus 365 is not there.
Yes, sir.
So he is a non-resident. Friends, all of you could understand these 7 cases.
Sir,
Okay.
can you explain us case 6, how he is resident?
You tell me what is the conditions for resident. 182 days in the relevant previous year.
So in first condition is 182 days or more in relevant previous year.
And case 6, how many days he has stayed?
Oh yes, 188. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. If you are thorough about these 6 cases, I am showing you case 8 to 14, another 7 cases. Tell me case number 8. What is the answer? Case 8.
Sir, resident.
A resident. Why?
Sir, second condition satisfied.
Second condition. 60 plus 365. Good. Case 9.
Non-resident.
Non-resident. Okay. Both the conditions are not compliant.
Yes, sir.
Non-resident. Case 10.
Sir, give me a second. Yes, sir, resident.
Resident. 60 plus 365 condition is there.
Yes.
Case 11.
Non-resident, sir.
Non-resident.
So one day he is falling short of.
Okay. 60 plus 364 days. Okay. Non-resident. Case 12.
Non-resident.
Non-resident. 59 means non-resident 100%. Okay. Then case 13.
Resident.
Resident.
Yes, sir.
365. Okay. Okay. Right. Case 14.
Non-resident.
Non-resident. Because 60 plus 365 is not there. Non-resident.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay. If you have done it, then you will not commit any mistake in future. So far as primary residential classification is concerned, these are the maximum permutation combinations are possible. Okay, is it clear to you up to this?
Yes, sir.
Understood? Okay, these basic conditions, relevant previous year, 182 days or 60 days plus 365 days. But these are the additional conditions you use. Okay, this between this 182 days and 60 plus 365 days, this is a word is or, but here it's and.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but friends, when this is the normal, there are exceptions. Let me tell you the exceptions first. Now, having understood this primary basic rule, let us learn some exceptions. As you can see, how many exceptions you are seeing now? Three exceptions. So you have to remember these exceptions. In this case, we have to interpret things differently. Point number one. Can you tell me? Can you read it out?
Yes, sir. An individual who is a citizen of India and who leaves India in any previous year for the purpose of employment.
That means here we are talking about a person who is a citizen of India and who is leaving India for employment purpose. Okay, purpose is defined for employment purpose, a citizen of India who is leaving India. Point number two.
An individual who is a citizen of India and who leaves India in any previous year as a member of a crew in any Indian ship.
Second condition is again about citizen of India, and he is also leaving India as a crew member in any Indian ship. He is leaving as a crew member. First case is he is leaving for employment. Second case is he is leaving for a crew member. Case 3.
An individual who is a citizen of India or is a person of Indian origin who is being outside India comes on a visit to India in any previous year.
So this is the third situation. First situation we have seen citizen of India. Third situation it talks about two things: citizen of India or a person of Indian origin. He may not be a citizen of India, but he may be a person of Indian origin. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of person of Indian origin?
So place of birth is India.
Place
sir,
of birth is
parents
India.
are
Let me
in-
tell you exact meaning. What is a person of Indian origin? Oh, just a minute. I think I have taken it somewhere. Okay, I will tell you. When I say person of Indian origin, that means, oh yeah, here I'm sorry. You see, he or his parents or grandparents were born in undivided India. That means India, Pakistan, Bangladesh taken together will be considered as undivided India. Either he is born in that undivided India, or his parents are born, or his grandparents are undivided India. In that case, it will be considered as he will be considered as a person of Indian origin. Okay. So third point is that citizen of India or is a person of Indian origin. And first two cases we're talking about a situation where the person is leaving India. But third case, what we're talking about? Being outside comes for a visit. Here he's coming to India. Okay. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
He's coming to India. He's either an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin for coming to India on a visit. He's visiting. He will go back. Okay. If this is the three situations, have you remembered these three situations? Indian citizen leaving for employment. Indian citizen living as a crew member in Indian ship, not a foreign ship. Third case, Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin coming to India on a visit. If this is the situation, if these are the three situations, Then the period 60 days, what we are talking about. 60 days when we are talking about, it is about second condition. Second condition, first one, isn't it? The 60 days, what is mentioned in the law above, will be read as 182 days. 60 days mentioned supra will be read as 182 days. That means, what was our original condition? This was the original condition. He is in India for a period or periods all amounting to 182 days or more in the previous year, or he is in India for 60 days or more during relevant previous year, and he has been in India for 365 days or more during 4 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. These are the conditions or not?
Yes, sir.
Now what I am saying, Indian citizen leaving India for employment. Indian citizen living India as a crew member in Indian origin, a crew member in Indian city. Third case, Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin coming to India for a visit. The 60 days will be this 60 days. Okay, will be read as what? How many days?
182 days.
180 days. That means 60 days will become 180 days. Now you say first condition, it is already 180 days.
Yes,
Second
sir.
condition also becomes 180 days. That
Yes.
means in this situation, second condition become irrelevant. Because if it is 182 days, if the person is staying for 180 days, then he is already becoming resident. The second condition become useless, you can say. In which situation? These are the 3 situations.
Yes, sir.
Understood? Purposefully this has made so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that one person who is leaving India, let us say for employment, he can comfortably stay for 180 days. And still, what will happen? After 180 days, let us say he is staying for less than 180 days, that will not be considered as resident. But he stays, when he stay exceeds 180 days, he will become a non-resident. Did you understand what I said? No, I think.
No, sir. Last line I couldn't.
Yeah. When I'm saying, first try to understand. Let us say you are planning to go abroad for employment. Would you like to become resident for that previous year or non-resident?
I would like to be the resident.
You would like to become resident, but try to understand. The moment you become resident, what will happen? Your global income will be taxable. But if you become non-resident, then only your Indian income will be taxable. Your foreign income will not be taxable. Now reply. What you would like to be? Would you like that you will be adding in US and you will be paying tax in India?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, you will not like this. Then what you would like to become? Resident or non-resident?
Non-resident.
Non-resident.
You see, residency status is different. Citizenship is different. Okay, so don't get emotionally attached with the citizenship. That's a different thing. You're very much an Indian citizen. But for tax purpose, for tax computation purpose, Indian government is saying Indian government is in fact helping you to stay more days in India without paying tax. How it is possible? Because in this situation, if you would have stayed 60 days or little more than 60 days, you would have become resident. Because earlier 4 previous years, you are already staying in India for more than 365 days. Now in this year, if you stay little more than 60 days, then you will become what? Resident.
Yes, sir.
And your global income will become taxable. But here the law says, no, you can stay for 180 days. But before 180 days, please leave. If you're leaving, not please leave, but if you decide to leave, then what will happen? You will not become resident. You will still become a non-resident.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it good or not?
Yes, sir.
So
So
this is,
basically, they can stay for less than 182 days.
yes.
So they will be non-resident. If it exceeds 182 days, they will be considered as resident.
Okay. Now again, one more thing I will be telling you. Let us go back to previous picture. 182 days, how you will plan to stay. That is also important for us. I told you this thing. How will become resident? The stay should all taken together should be 182 days or more. Right? When I say 182 days or more, 182 days or more. That means, let us say, and this has to be, this residential status has to be computed for every previous year.
Yes.
Okay. Let us say we will be talking about previous year 22-23. Coming previous year I'm talking. Let us say 22-23, you want to go out. Right? Then how many days you can stay? 182 days. And days will be counted from 1st April. 1st April, if you see 182 days, that means little more than 6 months. You'll see what? Around October 12th, October 2, 2nd October. So if we are leaving before Gandhi Jayanti, then
Non-resident.
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 Non-resident. But if you are staying longer, you'll become resident.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, friends, 1 minute. But let us say similarly, one can plan his stay in such a way. People who frequently go abroad to keep their residential status intact, they may plan there in such a way that in a particular previous year, they should not be staying more than 180 days or 182 days. They should not be staying. But continuously they can stay. For how long? How long one can stay continuously?
$182 days.
182 days stayed means he become non-resident. So continuously one can stay 181 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if you want, if somebody wants, then what he can do totally, he can split his stay into two previous years. That means 181 plus 181. 362 days. That means almost 1 year one can stay continuously. How? Let us say that person will come sometime around October 3. Then October 3 to March 31st will be considered, will be counted for one previous year. Is it?
Yes.
Then
Yes,
again
sir.
from April to, let us say, October 1 will be calculated for another previous year. So that person may come on October 3 and leave on October 1. Only 2 days gap. So continuously he is staying how many days?
More than 182 days. Basically.
Almost 1 year he is staying.
Yes,
Without
sir.
affecting his non-residential status. Understood the tax planning?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
but during those 2 periods, those 2-3 days are critical. Those 2-3 days he should not be staying. Otherwise, his entire global income will become taxable.
Yes, sir.
Did you understand? So this residential status has to be computed for every previous year, and you have to plan it carefully.
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this examples I told you. This also we had discussed. This I told you. Okay. Now, friends, just a minute. Well, friends, yeah, this is what we are discussing. So we have discussed that the basic principles regarding residential status. Okay, this exercise is and yeah, these are the 3 exceptions. Now you have remembered the exceptions. Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And if you have observed it carefully, in the 3rd exception, there is a asterisk mark here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is some more condition attached to this. I will explain this thing. But primarily try to appreciate that Indian citizen who leaves India for employment and Indian citizen who leaves India in a crew member as a crew member in Indian ship, and Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who is coming to India on a visit, the period of 60 days in the second condition shall be taken as 182 days. Okay, on that basis, we'll be discussing, we'll be deciding the residential status. But in case of individual who is coming to India on a visit, and if he's a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin, there is a asterisk mark, and that point we are going to discuss right now. This is what. Okay, are you able to see it? This asterisk mark starts a situation. It's applicable when his Indian income is more than 15 lakh. In that situation, what will happen? We'll see. Okay, it is applicable. You see, if you read this carefully, what it says. However, such person means we are not talking about other two categories. We are talking about an individual who is a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin who, being outside India, comes on a visit to India in any previous year. That person. Okay, so this point is specific to this person only who is coming to India. Okay, having total income other than the income from foreign sources. Okay, that means having total Indian income exceeding rupees 15 lakh rupees during the previous year will be treated as a resident of India. Will be still treated as a resident of India if condition number one, the period of his stay during the relevant previous year is 182 days or more. That is anyway, first condition is 182 days is always there. Second condition was 60 plus 365. And you have also understood in some situation the 60, 365 will become irrelevant, the 60 will become 182 days. But here it says, the second condition is that he has been in India during 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. And the total period of 365 days, for a total period of 365 days. That means in the 4 immediately preceding previous years, he should have stayed 365 days or 365 days or more, and has been in India for at least, here not 60 days, not 182 days, then at least how many days?
122.
120.
120.
120.
Oh, that means in that specific case, that 60 days will not be read as 180 days, 180 days, but rather it will be read as 120 days. In this specific situation, that means if the person's Indian income is more than 15 lakh rupees. Okay, understood. Law has used the word other than the income from foreign sources. Then what is this mean? What is the meaning of that term? Other than the income from foreign sources. Income which accrues or arises outside India, that is income from foreign sources, except the income from a business controlled from or from a profession set up in India. Even if it is arising outside India, but if it is from a business which is controlled from India or a profession set up in India, that will be still regarded as his Indian. Okay, therefore it is said except income from a business controlled from or a profession set up in India, and which is not deemed to accrue or arise in India, which will not be taken as accruing arising in India, that income will be considered as your income from foreign sources. So if someone is having income from excluding the income from foreign sources, that means his Indian income is exceeding 15 lakh rupees, then 60 days in the condition number 2 will be read as how many days? How many days?
120 days.
120 days. Now, this was the condition I was telling you. Right. So, total income, how to know the residential status? He should have been in India for a period of periods all amounting to 182 days during the relevant previous year, or he is in India for not 60 days, but 120 days. Okay, or more during the relevant previous year, and he has been in India for 365 days or more during 4 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Okay, so this is, you can say, special provision for those for people whose Indian income is more than 50 lakh rupees. That means the principle behind this law is that if someone is having substantial Indian income, he needs to pay tax in India. Okay, he needs to pay tax in India because he's having actually some Indian. And in this case, he cannot be made simply non-resident just by staying, let us say, less than 60 days. So period is extended to 120 days in this case. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you recall the first chart, at that time I had told you there is a concept of deemed resident for individuals. Okay, and he'll be treated as resident but not ordinary resident. Deemed resident. Okay, you're saying it. Now let us learn what is that concept. Deemed resident. This is a new provision, so it is little important for us. So new subsection has been added, 1A. So we need to report to section 6, 1A. Now, if you read it, it says an individual being an Indian citizen, having total income other than the income from foreign sources. What is income from foreign sources? You have understood? Okay, right now, as explaining, below that also, you can read this point. Income which accrues or arises outside India, except income from a business controlled from or profession set up in India, and which is not deemed to accrue or arise in India. So that will be treated as income from foreign sources. So I repeat now, an individual being an Indian citizen, having total income other than the income from foreign sources exceeding 15 lakh rupees during the previous year would be deemed to be resident in India in that previous year if he is not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory by reason of his domicile or residence or any other criteria of similar nature. That means if there is an Indian citizen whose Indian income is exceeding 15 lakh rupees, and for some reason of his domicile or his residence in some other country, that means he is not paying tax anywhere. He might be staying in a country which is a tax haven country, tax-free country. And because of his stay, because of his residence, he is not allowed to pay tax in India. And since he is not paying tax anywhere, he is supposed to pay tax in India. That is the principle. Understood? Okay.
Yes,
So you
sir.
have to see Indian citizen. He is having Indian total income exceeding 15 lakh, not paying tax anywhere. He will be considered, he will be deemed to be resident in India. Consequently, his global income will be taxable. Okay. Logic is very simple here because he is not paying tax elsewhere. Okay. It may be true that he is not having Indian income, but fact that he is not paying tax anywhere, but he is having some Indian income. This is the concept of deemed resident. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I had explained you earlier that what is the meaning of Indian origin. As you know, either the person or his parents or grandparents are born in undivided India, will be considering that person as a person of Indian origin. Friends, please try to remember that when calculating the days, that whether he has stayed for 365 days or 182 days or 60 days or 120 days, for computing both arrival and departure dates, that means both the dates has to be included. And also I have explained you earlier that this day need not be continuous. That means one may, in between, one may take a break. You may stay in India, go out, then again come back and stay. Stay need not be continuous. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, first of all, how to know how to count that days? If data regarding time is not available, then as I told you, both arrival date and departure date shall be included. Suppose in the passport, When the person has entered, the data is not start, that time is not start, time is not there. Then both arrival date, departure date will be included to calculate the days. If time is available, at what time he has entered into India, what time has left India, if that is available, then what will 25 hours will be considered as 1 day. So 25 hours, 1 day basis, you have to find out that how many days that person has stayed. Okay, this principle we have to keep it in mind.
Yes, sir.
Now, friends, tell me the answer. Please answer me this thing. Find the residential status of Mr. X in the following situation. Okay, came to India for the first time. That means he was in abroad. He's coming for the first time on 6th June of the previous year and departed on 4th December. 5th June to 4th December. Sorry, 6th June to 4th December. Can you quickly calculate his number of days of stay and tell me his residential status? Please try.
So he's staying more than one, like near about 180 days.
Exactly, you need to calculate the days. On that basis, you'll be able to decide.
Okay,
How
sir.
we'll be doing it? We can open a table. Write down in June how many days, July how many days, August, September, October, November, December. December 4 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like this you have to calculate and add it up. So I'm showing you an example here. You can say April he has not stayed, May he has not stayed, June he arrived on 6th. From 6th to 30, June is for 30 days. How many days he has stayed? 25 days. July, you see 31 days, August 31 days, September 30 days, October 31 days, November 30 days, December 4 days. So all taken together 182 days. So what is his residential status?
182.
Resident.
Residence. Okay, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to do one more exercise?
Yes, sir.
Here is next question. Here with time data it is up. Is coming for the first time on 6th June at 8 a.m. of the previous year and departed on 4th December, same 4th December, but at 7 p.m. Now time is available. Time is not available, you know, both arrival and departure dates needs to be included.
Yes, sir.
But here time is available.
24 hours equal to 1 day.
Yeah, but time is available. You have to find out hours. How many hours? If 24 hours, then 1 day. If less than 24 hours, that is not a day.
Okay, sir.
Again, similar manner. Open a table.
So 181 days. So,
Okay. Then resident or non-resident?
Non-resident.
Non-resident. He's coming for the first time. That is earlier he has not stayed. Okay, so you cannot go for 60 plus 365 conditions is not applicable here because question has clearly said they came to India for the first time. Okay, second condition is not there. Now if you calculate here, you see in June 24 days and 16 hours. July, you know, number of days are there. In December, 3 days and 19 hours. Total 180 days and 35 hours. 35 hours means 1 day and
yes.
11 hours.
And yes, sir.
11 hours is not a day. So 181. Consequently, he is not a resident. He's a non-resident. Questions, both previous question and this question is similar. Only thing is that first question, time data was available. Second case, time data was not. Second case, time data is available. First case, time data was not available.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us try this question. This is one more question for you. You may take a piece of paper and try to write down the question, and not write down the question, and try to solve the question. Question is here. Yes, will you be able to solve it? Obama, US citizen, comes to India for the first time in the financial year 1718.
So non-resident.
The
Not.
non-resident.
Let us check the answer. Okay, in different years, you see how many days he has stayed. Data is also available. Now we are calculating for assessment year 22-23. Relevant previous year is 21-22. And in 21-22, we have to see the previous 4 preceding previous years: 2021, 19-20, 18-19, 17-18. Okay, and answer is given to you. 17-18 he has stayed for 55 days.
Yes, sir.
18-19, 60 days. 80 days for 19-20, and 20-21, 160 days. And in 21-22, how many days he has stayed?
70.
70 days. So total comes to 355 days. So our second condition is that relevant previous year 60 days plus 365 days. So he has not stayed for 365 days. In fact, he has stayed for 355 days. So what is his residential status?
Non-resident.
Non-resident.
NR, you are saying correctly. It's a non-resident. Okay, I think you'll be able to find it out. Let us try this question. You have to see that if the practical training is to be considered for employment, it has to be not considered for employment. So now you see, by interpreting the law, one can make somebody resident and non-resident also.
So in March 2021, he only left for 15 days because from 1st April, new financial year you will start. So
Yes,
that year 15 days. And so we have to calculate for like from April, right?
yes.
Okay.
Should I help you? So we are talking about assessment year 22-23. So relevant previous is 21-22. So you can see April to December, he has not stayed. January 18,
Yes, sir.
February 29, March 31, total 68 days he has stayed. If he's not for employment, then he's arrested. If it's for employment, it has to be considered 180 days, then he's not arrested. Okay, did you understand this?
So why April to December it's 0?
Okay, please try to find it out. Software professional left for London on 15th March 2021. Okay, so 15th March 2021 he is leaving. Right. So why April to December is 0?
So that should be included in the like 2021 year. So
Are you able to follow? We are considering assessment year 21-22.
yes, sir.
Okay. And we are trying to find out how many days he has stayed in India. He left India on 15th March 2021. And we have to consider from which date? 1st April.
Yes, yes.
Whether he was there
Previous,
in April? He was there or no? No,
no,
he was
sir,
not
he
there.
wasn't there.
Whether he was there in May? No.
No, sir.
Okay, understood. So when he came
Sir,
on 24th January, so April to December, from 1st April, we are not going to consider. From January onwards, we have to consider. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Question might be a little confusing. Try to understand. This is the answer. If it is not for employment, then he is a resident because you have to take entire 180 days. Sorry, you have to consider 60 days. 60 plus 365 days. But if it is for employment, he is a non-resident. Okay, is it clear to you or any query you have?
No, sir.
Is it clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So as you are asking earlier also, only January, February, March has to be considered. Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Understand. Try to appreciate that he is leaving India on 15th March. And from 15th March to 31st March is actually irrelevant for us. We have to consider from 1st April. April he was not there. April to December he was not there. Therefore 0. Okay, friends. Now I think whether a person is resident or not, now we are able to decide whether an individual is resident or not. And also we will be able to easily find out that or can also know that in which situation a person can be deemed to be resident. Now, having understood that, one more thing, as you are aware of, once we know an individual is a resident, or once we know an HUF is a resident, then we have to again further classify them into 2 more categories. Have you remembered what are these 2 more categories? Subcategories.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you tell me? Resident and ordinary resident, resident but not ordinary resident. Now, friends, let us learn what is this. What is the meaning of not ordinary resident? Okay, a not ordinary resident is a person who satisfies any one condition which are specified in section 6.6. Okay. Okay. What is the first condition? If the individual has been non-resident in India, in any 9 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. Now what I have to do? I have to go back. I have to consider 9 preceding previous years. On that basis, I will be deciding. Okay, just a minute. Okay, what is the first condition? Will you please read it?
If such individual has been non-resident in India in any 9 out of the 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous years.
That means suppose I am assessment year, I am talking about 20. Let me help you. Assessment year is 22-23. What is the relevant previous year?
2021.
21-22. Okay. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now we are talking about 9 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. That's it. You tell me. 2021. Then 1920, 1819, 1718,
1718,
1617, 1516, 1415. Now calculate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 more. Then 13, 14, 12, 13. These are the 9. Okay. 9 previous years
17.
immediately preceding the relevant previous year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now what? Now try to interpret. Now again read it. What it says. If an individual has been non-resident, okay, in non-resident in 9 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous years. That means I have to take one more. That means 12, 13, 11, 12. I have to take one more. Okay. So in these 10 preceding years, we have to see any 9. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any 9 you have to see. Maybe from the first 9, then from last 9, or maybe in between, any 9 you have to see. And he is non-resident. You have to see. Every year you have to find out his residential status. That is, a year is a resident, or other are non-resident. That means all 9 previous years he is non-resident. This is one. Or you see, first you see it says if it satisfies any one of the conditions. Or what is the second condition? Please read it out.
If such individual has during the 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year has been in India for a period of 729 days or less.
Or I have to see 10 years, 10 out of 9 you have seen. Then I have to see 7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for these years, he should have stayed how many days? 729 days or less. Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, if 729 days or less, even one day would suffice.
Yes. Okay. If he stayed for 729 days or less, then he is a non-resident.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Or in which situation he is a not ordinary resident. But it appears to be a little complex to understand this thing. Let me change, because this is how law has explained. If you read the section 6, subsection 6, it doesn't explain this. But if you try to understand, there's a better way of understanding. We'll not let us see who is an ordinary resident. We'll see who is not ordinary. If you think from the other side, that means if you talk about ordinary resident, then now you see definition will become simple. That means he should have stayed 730 days or more.
Yes, sir.
Is a resident. Or at least in the 10 preceding previous years, 9 preceding previous, he should have become resident. Then it becomes easy for you to understand.
Yes, sir.
Is it? But the law, if you read the section, it is explained in the reverse way. Non-resident, and it should have been, it talks about 9 out of 10 preceding previous year. It should be non-resident. And in 7 previous years preceding to the relevant previous year, he has been in India for a period for 729 days or less. Because if he becomes 730 days, he will become what? Ordinary resident. Therefore, in the first chart, if you see, I had tried to explain you. Now, if you read those conditions, I think it will be better to refer to that chart. Now, see. When an individual will become resident in India, now you'll understand. Are you able to see? Individual, 182 days in the previous year. Resident, we have understood. Now we're talking about resident, but not ordinary resident. Sorry, I have to show it here. Okay. So if the individual has become 2 out of 10 previous year, he is resident, or 730 days in 7 immediately preceding previous years, he's a resident, then he's a resident and ordinary. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in a reverse way, we can understand. But let me first say this, explain you the section, the way it is written in the law. Again, I'll be explaining you then how to easily remember this concept. Okay. First read the way law is written. Let us see that. So what it says, if an individual has been non-resident in India in at least 9 out of 10 previous years, that means one in the 10 years, if 1 year resident is okay, but he's become resident in 2 years, then he'll become ordinary resident. This definition we are learning is about for not ordinary resident. Because law has explained it like this. Law has defined what is not ordinary resident. And ordinary resident is who? Who is not ordinary resident. Second is that if individual has during 7 preceding previous years, preceding to the relevant previous year, has been in India for 729 days or less. That means if the moment you will stay 730 days, you will become what? Ordinary resident.
Yes, sir.
Second is that, and if third one, if such individual or an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who being outside India comes on a visit to India on any previous year, having total income other than the income from foreign sources exceeding 50 lakh rupees during the previous year, who has been in India for 120 days or more, but less than 180 days in that previous year. If I stayed for 180 days or more, but less than 120 days or 182 days during the previous year, he will be also be treated as not ordinary resident. If such individual is an Indian citizen who is deemed to be resident in India, he will be also be treated as not ordinary resident. Okay, so this concept, friends, I'll be explaining you with some examples, then it will be clear to you. But if you read the plain section of law, it may appear to be little confusing, because what law has done, law has explained what is not ordinary resident. Okay. Then law has said ordinary resident when not ordinary resident. That means if none of the four conditions are satisfied, then we can call that person an ordinary resident. Therefore, while explaining you, it becomes little confusing for you. But what I will be doing in the next session, I will be first explaining you what is the meaning of ordinary resident. Then we will be seeing in which situation he will become not ordinary resident. Then once again, we will read the provisions of the law, how law has been explained in the reverse way. That will be better for you. Okay. So it appears little confusing because law has tried to explain it in a negative way. First, it is explaining what is a not ordinary resident. Okay, therefore then confusion is. Okay, friends. So we'll stop here today. We'll catch up in your next session. Any specific query you have? The ordinary resident, non-resident concept, let us discuss in your next class. Any other query you have?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sir, so in